Hey there YouTube, it's really great to see you. I know you haven't seen me for a little while because the last couple of weeks I've actually been having the camera pointing straight at the game. So you haven't been looking at me, taking a look at the game. I hope you had a lot of fun with that, taking a look at Pokemon and Knuckles Chaotix. Those were a lot of great games. Now we're going to move on. We're going to take a look at me and see what I've got here in my collection for this week. So now we're going to jump in our time machine and go back a few weeks, and it might be 3, 4, 5 weeks. I don't remember how long it's been. It's been quite a little while, maybe a month ago for me or so. But if you recall, I took a look at Tony Hawk's games. So starting off with the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, then there were the Tony Hawk Underground, Tony Hawk American Wasteland, Tony Hawk Project 8, a lot of great games in there. I love the Tony Hawk series. I've also heard that recently that there's going to be a new Tony Hawk game coming out. They haven't released a whole lot of details about that. So it might be a mobile game. It might be, I'd probably say not PC, personal computer, not politically correct. It may be horribly politically incorrect, as some of the Tony Hawk games have been, like the Underground games, but those were a lot of fun. I love non-PC, right? Non-politically correct. I also love non-personal computer, which is why all of the games that I've broadcasted so far have been console games or handhelds. Just non-PC that we've looked at so far. Okay, so what I wanted to look at this week is the games in the Tony Hawk series that don't really fit in with the rest of the Tony Hawk games, the Tony Hawk spin-offs, if you will. And I realized right before I hit record, I did not collect the peripheral that I wanted to get. But anyway, I'll discuss that, and I'm trying to see if I have this in this room or not. I'm going to get up and take a look. Give me a second here. La-di-da! Doing her thing, doing her thing. Good news, everyone! I just had to do that. Okay, so I do have the peripheral. I do have it. It's right here on the floor. So I'll be able to show that to you here in a second. So, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, Tony Hawk's Underground, all of those games that are in the main Tony Hawk series, I guess the first one that I'm going to show you is actually still part of the Tony Hawk main series. And that is Tony Hawk's Ride, or just Tony Hawk Ride. So, what is so special about this game? Why is it in the main series, but I still kind of consider it a spin-off? Well, that's where the peripheral comes into play. And that takes the shape of a large board peripheral. So, yes, this is large, okay? This is my head, this is the board, this is, it's as long as my arm. The idea behind this, if you can imagine, which you've probably already deduced this actually, is you're supposed to stand on this sucker and play a game. So no controller in hand, whatsoever, no controller. You're supposed to play the game by standing on the board and doing little tricks with it. So I gave this game a shot a while back when I first got it. Have not given it a try since, okay, because my balance is only okay. I've never really tried a real skateboard. I don't know how well I would fare. So my copy of Tony Hawk Ride is for the Wii, okay? So this actually came out for every game system that was in that particular generation. So we're talking the Wii, the Xbox 360, and the PlayStation 3. And each of them required their own board. So this Wii has Wii buttons on the side, and it's designed to work for the Wii. Of course, you have the PlayStation version that is designed to automatically and wirelessly connect to the PS3, and likewise for the Xbox 360 version. So that is Tony Hawk Ride. Haven't played a whole lot into that because at this point in the Tony Hawk game, and by the game I mean the life cycle of Tony Hawk games, things got very gimmicky, okay? So yes, we have the board peripheral, and there's a couple other gimmicks that I'm going to show you here in a second, okay? So try not to get too far ahead of ourselves. Following Tony Hawk Ride, about a year later, they came out with Tony Hawk Shred. And actually what they did is they did the exact same thing. They kept the board peripheral, and it's still standing on the board trying to play a game from standing on a board, okay? So I have not played that. However, I've read several reviews that have said that Tony Hawk Shred is a lot better than Tony Hawk Ride, but if you're not into these gimmicky things, maybe you don't want to play either, okay? So, moving on to the gimmicky things, and do these things really work? I'm getting really close for a reason. I'll show you that reason here in a second, okay? So, this is a Nintendo DS game. It does not have a cover. As you can see, it's just a plain boring DS case, okay? And what's inside, of course, is a Tony Hawk game, because that's what we're talking about, Tony Hawk games. This is Tony Hawk's Motion. This is actually a really neat game, a really neat idea. Definitely a gimmick, yes, because here you see the small DS cartridge, Tony Hawk's Motion, and this is the Motion Pack. So what this is, ladies and gentlemen, is Tony Hawk's Motion for the Nintendo DS with the Motion Pack. Okay, I know I'm just repeating myself here. Why am I doing that? Well, I'm trying to get this into your mind. You probably already figured out what this is. Tony Hawk's Motion with the Motion Pack. Okay, so this only works on the Nintendo DS and the Nintendo DS Lite because this Motion Pack, if I can get it out of here, is the size and shape of a Game Boy Advance game, and that's exactly what it is. It's a Game Boy Advance game without the game. It's just a motion pack. There are some games. Now I'm just jumping around. Okay, so bear with me. Some games had a rumble pack. So going as far back, and now we're talking just portables, okay? Because of course we know the PlayStation controllers, the Xbox controllers, that they had rumbles in them. Even the Nintendo 64 had a rumble pack add-on that you could purchase. But for portables, okay, that's what we're talking about. Some games had rumble. Now going back as far as the Game Boy Color, some cartridges had rumble in them. For the Nintendo DS, there was a special rumble pack that was used for certain games. I happen to know Metroid Prime Pinball was one of those. So imagine playing pinball on your little Nintendo DS, and all of a sudden you bump into something and your DS just starts shaking violently. So a lot of fun? I don't know. I've never tried the rumble pack for the DS or the DS Lite. The motion pack is actually a motion controller. It picks up your motion, your tilting, your twirling. What exactly is it? Is it just a tilt sensor? Is it an accelerometer? I don't know what the hardware is inside. I would guess it's similar to Kirby's Tilt and Tumble. So if you recall from a few weeks back, I talked about a few strange Game Boy and Game Boy Advance titles. Kirby Tilt and Tumble was in there. So this is similar to that where, and I'm using a lot of motions today. I don't know what it is, but I seem to be really getting into this. So, in a nutshell, it's a gimmick. You're holding your Nintendo DS to turn left and right. You turn your DS. You know, that's not why I fell in love with the Tony Hawk games. I like the controllers. I like being able to hold the thing still, just play through the game, do a lot of skateboarding tricks, go up on ramps, you know, do really cool stunts. I had a lot of fun with that. Now they changed the formula. I don't like that. I have not played this game a whole lot, so I can't really give it a great review. And if you see on there, maybe you can see on there, it also mentions something about Hue Pixel Painter. So that's just an extra game added into the cartridge, into the DS cart, where it features the motions controls. I think really what they were doing there is just to try to sell the motion pack as much as they can, because maybe they foresaw that this motion pack's not going to get used for any other game, ever. And that's the truth. It never did. No other games as far as I know. Moving on, friends. Another game for the Nintendo DS, Tony Hawk's American Skateland. Okay, do you recall the PlayStation 2 games? We took a look at Tony Hawk's Underground, Tony Hawk's Underground 2, and then Tony Hawk's American Wasteland. That was right before Tony Hawk's Project 8. So, Tony Hawk's American Wasteland came out, and this came out at the same time Tony Hawk's American Skateland. So this is a reduced graphics. It's almost a port of American Skateland. Sorry, American Wasteland. I get the two confused, okay? You know, what are you gonna do? You gonna yell at me? You gonna leave nasty comments in my comment section? Yeah, go ahead. I don't care. You know, leave me some comments. We're gonna have some fun. Yeah. So this game was actually really cool because it actually contained the exact same, well, some of the same levels from American Wasteland, but in a handheld. And this is awesome. So take a look at the back. Take a look, my friends. So on your bottom screen of the DS, we actually have the map of the different levels that you're playing in. So if you get kind of lost, yeah, I know, extreme close-up. If you get kind of lost during the game, you can take a look at your screen. Here's another really cool thing. Your deck designer. So you can actually paint and draw your own designs that show up on your skateboard in the game. Yeah, I don't even know what I'm pointing at. So that was a lot of fun. And of course, Nintendo Wi-Fi right there. Nintendo Wi-Fi. So that's a lot of fun. You're going to play the game online against other people. However, if you've been paying attention to the entertainment world, as I have, or sometimes tend to, you may have recently heard that Nintendo has shut down its Nintendo Wi-Fi. And that's kind of a disappointment. So, probably cannot play Tony Hawk's American Skateland anymore on Wi-Fi. So you're just going to have to play it locally. Find a friend, play it locally. If you happen to know me personally, and if you have a DS, get American Skateland, I will happily play against you. I love Tony Hawk games, especially good games where it doesn't require silly motions. And no, American Skateland does not require any silly motions. It's just, you're there with the controls. Occasionally you might tap on the screen, but no big deal. It's just still regular controls. I love it. Love it. Love it. Last but not least, we have Tony Hawk's Downhill Jam. This copy is for the Wii. This also got ported over to the PlayStation 2. What is so unique about Downhill Jam? Well, emphasis got taken away from doing tricks, doing stunts, completing objectives, and now Tony Hawk's racing downhill. So the graphics have definitely taken a bit of a change here. It's kind of comic-y here, I would suppose. This game is actually pretty weird because they, believe it or not, they ported it over to the Game Boy Advance. Now, can you imagine a downhill racing game on skateboards on the Game Boy Advance? It's really kind of mind-boggling. Unless you've ever seen it in person, it's hard to wrap your head around. But believe it or not, I've tried it. It's a horrid game, and I would not recommend it. But if you love Tony Hawk games, you just want to add to your collection, go ahead and buy it. Give it a try. If you can manage to play through the entire game, I salute you, because that's like saying, hey, I beat E.T. for the Atari 2600. I'm sure it's possible, but you may not want to sit through the whole thing. So, give it a try. Tony Hawk Downhill Jam for the more recent generation, so the Wii, the PS2, a lot better game. It's emphasis on speed. There's some levels where you're high flying on these really high wires. You know, you are doing a bunch of tricks, so it is a lot of fun. Get some two-player action going in. Definitely a lot of fun. On the Wii, of course, you can get up to 4 players. So check out American Wasteland. I'm not even talking about American Wasteland. Tony Hawk's Downhill Jam. Check it out. Come over to my place. Play with me. You know, we can have a blast. Anyway, that is all that I have to mention about the Tony Hawk games. I want to thank you for watching my game chat videos. And right now, I have to have a little bit of a heart-to-heart with you. I've taken a look at my YouTube views recently, and I've come to the conclusion that my viewership just is not as high as I would hope that it would be for these game chats. So yes, it is a lot of fun doing game chat videos, but I'm starting to feel that I'm oversaturating my YouTube channel with all these videos, and people just don't want to watch them. So if you are the one of the few who comes back each week and checks out my video, thank you so much for doing that. I still urge you to please subscribe to my channel, leave comments to any of my videos. I still get email alerts on my channel. with my videos. I get alerted on comments, so please leave me a comment. I would definitely reply back to you. Ask me a question, ask me anything. This does not mean that I will stop making these game chat videos. Taking a break, I'm stepping back a little bit, and I may record more game chat videos whenever inspiration strikes me. So until then, this is Nolan signing off. Thank you for watching my game chat videos, and I'll see you next time, whenever that may be. Alright, anyway, that's me signing off. So long, guys.